The second major strategic issue is that we needed to develop a governance model that supported the development of an initiative like the fiber to the premises, as well as the ability, a board that had the ability to provide the operational and corporate structure to oversee the actual development, installation, and operation of a connected community network. We're recognizing that the main economic drivers in our community had to be involved and include them in the partnership, and they were identified as our essential members of the Institute, those being the college, the town, the Ag Society, and the Chamber. We use a pillar committee structure that provides grassroots input from across the spectrum of community development perspectives. And that is, we have to be testing this technology project against the existing business interests, new business interests, and then the cultural and community lifestyles side of economic development. We had to be looking at sustainability, as we have an old strategic sustainability plan that's governing decisions within our town. And then, of course, all of the community services that could be affected. We need to commit to be a policy-driven board governance organization. And we had to do the hard work because to develop policy. This isn't easy for particularly former business people like myself to sit down and go through that hard process of developing good policy. But we had to do that, and it includes such things as a recruitment process that maintains a strong, engaged governance board so that we can be stewards for community development and for this project. So I just wanted to mention those things are things that we've had to go through over the past 5 years, and that have to be in place really before a $7.5 to $10 million project like we're talking about moves forward. At this point, I would like to pass it over to Joe Gustafson, who, as I said, has been a key initiator of this whole institute and the project itself, and serves as the chairman of our technology committee and the main driver on this. Joe?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Sterling. As Sterling said, to try to melt this down into a little 10-minute presentation is very, very difficult, because we have been at this for over 5 years with consultation with the community, and like Sterling said, you know, the desire of the community is to be connected to this thing called the SuperNet, and that in itself has been a real challenge and a real education process for us. So just a really brief sort of history of where we've come from. Like Sterling said, we did a collaborative process with community that's been ongoing, and the desire here is to create a community of small and medium-sized businesses and to drive that economic growth. And the citizens of the community have told us that they believe that connectivity is going to do that. Now, to future-proof our community, of course, we believe that the SuperNet, or something in its image of delivering 100 meg and the ability to maybe go to a gig or whatever is required, is necessary to future-proof what we are doing. And of course, you know, everybody says, well, why do we need this huge, big broadband? And of course, we, I think, have boiled that down into 4 basic sorts of answers. The first one is the capacity to use multiple applications at the same time. And homes, as we know them now, are filling up with multiple electronic devices. Digital cameras, home video equipment, cell phones, PDAs, digital everything from phones to TVs, HD TVs from 780 to 1080p's. We don't even understand what some of this stuff is, but there's no technology there that can drive some of the equipment and stuff that's being sold in the industry. Most homes cannot simply use their full capacity. Secondly, the ability to engage in real-time collaboration, such as we are doing here right now, such as today. And why can't I do this from my office or from my store, for my customers, or from my home office with my clients or my doctor? Or if we don't get this done soon, with my own psychiatrist, because this is driving us absolutely over the edge. So the third thing, of course, is video streaming. And of course, we do see some video streaming happening, but I don't see it on my 50-inch HD TV in my basement. And so this will change the internet into a visual media which really now it's limited really to our laptops or to our small computers, and some people who have managed to have this technology through some of the suppliers that are there that are offering a little bit more broadband, but is not universally available to everyone in small communities. And the fourth thing is file transfers in an asymmetrical speed, that would make Superman look slow. This is this new thing called cloud computing, where applications and data don't reside on your own computer, but they reside on a remote site. And your applications are always current because you don't have the application. So one application serves hundreds, perhaps thousands of people. And you don't use up your own storage because, of course, it's off-site. And we saw this technology in Sun Microsystems in Palo Alto, California in 2003. And the concept then was called network computing. And back in the 90s, its vision, Sun Micro's vision, of course, was best encapsulated in their mantra, the network is the computer. And why didn't this become the norm? Well, perhaps it's because of broadband. And so we believe that this huge file transfer issue is going to become a major driver of broadband. So basically capacity for multiple applications, the ability to engage in real-time collaboration, video streaming, and file transfers. We believe that is the backbone behind big broadband, and we believe that it takes 80 to 100 meg today to accomplish everything that you could possibly dream about doing, and perhaps a gig in the future or even more. Sterling, of course, talked about the creation of a governance model, and I won't touch on that. Some of the challenges that we have dealt with, of course, over the years, we sort of thought that if we built a network, everybody would come and play. Well, that has been anything but the truth. As we've tried to engage the big telecoms, there is a certain amount of turf protecting. Of course, we're entering into their world. What we do not want to do here is we're not interested in becoming a telecom. What we're interested in doing is delivering broadband to our citizens. And we're not interested in necessarily making money off of this process because we believe that the community will benefit from the economic development that will swing from this. So we don't see ourselves as a threat to the telecoms. What we want to do is to try to enhance their services and to bring this to our community. So they're unsure, of course, about their own future technologies. What are they doing? Are they putting all their money into wireless situations, or are they putting it into wired technology? They're investing in technologies that support their own infrastructure, of course. And some of that infrastructure is old infrastructure, and they don't know how necessarily to abandon that infrastructure and move forward. And of course, the whole thing about the reluctance to invest in small markets. Olds is a community of 7,000 people, about 3,500 households, and of course, they're saying it's hardly worth our while. And so we need to be able to prove to them that this experiment, or whatever we want to call it, this model, can exactly work. The biggest question, of course, that everybody asks, the big telecoms ask it, Olds Institute, of course, is asking it, is what does it cost to bring the technology past everybody's premise? And then what will be the take rate if we bring it past their premise? And if we could answer those two questions, then this whole exercise would be mute, because we would know either it's going to be a failure or it's going to be a success. And we believe that we're going to be terribly successful, and that if we bring the technology there, that people will engage it. CRTC, of course, has something to do with this. We have applied for and received non-dominant status with the CRTC. I'm not even sure what that means, but it does allow us to bring TV channels here if we want to build a TV station, which of course we have no desire to do. We've concluded that the CRTC was really created to protect companies from competition. And I think in the past that was a very honorable thing. It worked well for gas co-ops, it worked well for electrification of rural Alberta, and it protected, and allowed people to have secure markets. We do not any longer believe that that is true, and that this whole industry needs to be deregulated so that everybody can play in everybody else's sandbox. Because at the moment, you're really restricted from doing that to a certain extent, and it does hold back the telecom involvements.